Let me guess, you've been hearing about Substack for months, you want to finally start your own publication, you want to build an audience, share what you know, and finally make money online. But every time you sit down, you realize you don't really know what to write about. Well, here's the good news, you are in the right place. I've been writing online since 2018, and I've helped thousands of creators find their sweet spot, so growing an audience and monetizing their work actually becomes easy. But before we dive in, I want to do a quick reality check about who this video is for. My mission is to help coaches, consultants, experts, and educators share their message, grow an audience, and get paid for what they know. So if you are here to write personal essays, fiction, or something that doesn't sit under the description, what I share here might not fully apply to you. But if you want to serve an audience by sharing your knowledge, your ideas, and your gifts, stay with me, because what I'm about to share is exactly how you define what to write about, so the right people will find you, love seeing your name pop up in their inbox, and eventually open their wallets to pay you. Now, the biggest mistake people make when thinking about what to write is trying to think their way to the perfect topic. They stare at a blank page, they wait for inspiration, and they hope the right idea just shows up. But that approach rarely works. Your topic doesn't come from your head. It comes from an overlap of who you want to serve, what problem you can help them solve, and the specific angle you bring to the table. Audience, problem, angle. That's the filter you're looking for. Career, for example, is not a topic. It's way too broad and it points nowhere. But something like, I help mid-career professionals figure out what to do next when they have outgrown their job, is a topic. Or think about the following. I help first-time managers lead their team without burnout. Both are specific enough that the right person recognizes themselves in one sentence, and they are broad enough to give you dozens of ideas that you could cover in your content. Now, the easiest way to get to yours is not to sit down and brainstorm 50 different identities. It's to draft 3 possible statements and pressure test them. So it could look something like this. I write for solopreneurs about getting more clients without living on social media. Or I write for freelancers about turning one-off project into recurring monthly income. Or I write for busy parents about staying in shape without spending hours at the gym. Next, you ask yourself which one has the clearest audience, the strongest pain point, and the easiest path to something people would actually pay for. And that is your topic. It's not the one that sounds most impressive, but the one you can explain fastest, publish on consistently, and eventually build profitable offers around. Now, a good Substack topic passes 3 specific tests, and it's worth holding on to your draft statements up against each one before you commit to any of them. The first test is clarity. A stranger reads about your topic within a few seconds and immediately gets who it's for and what they would learn from you. If it takes a paragraph to explain, it's already not clear enough. The second filter is usefulness. Your reader walks away with a concrete outcome. Not just inspiration, not vibes, not just something like I feel seen, but something they can actually go and do. And the third is sustainability. When you pick a topic, you want to know that you can talk about it every week for the next year without forcing it. And if you're already tired imagining that, that's your sign to keep looking instead of rushing the decision. Now, let me be honest about something people rarely say out loud. The topic you start with doesn't need to be your forever identity. It needs to be your best current vehicle. So pick the one you can explain fastest, publish on it consistently, and eventually build offers around. You are allowed to grow into something else later on. If I look back at my own journey, of course I didn't start by talking about the topics I talk about right now. In fact, I started writing online about personal growth because I've been a coach and trainer first, and I was hosting in-person workshops for small groups of students every single week. I literally started by turning my presentations and workshop workshop materials into written articles. And I did that for more than 2 years. Look at me now, and I rarely talk about these topics anymore because my identity and my business have shifted. So don't put the pressure on yourself to pick the perfect thing for the rest of your life. Pick the thing that fits who you are and who you serve right now. Now, let's say you've picked your topic. Most creators still get stuck right here, and it's because they never make one crucial shift. A topic is essentially a container. A claim is an idea, and you can't write a container. Leadership is a container. It's just a label. There's nowhere for you to start and nothing for a reader to react to. It's just a topic. But think about the following. Most first-time managers burn out because they are still doing their old job on top of managing their team. Suddenly, we have a claim. And when you have a claim, somebody can agree, they can push back, or they can feel seen. It's so much more than just a topic. And here's the fastest test I know. Say your idea out loud. If nobody would feel anything, it's just a container. If somebody would nod or push back or say, finally someone is saying it, then you might be onto something. Content that grows your audience usually starts with a claim and not just a container/topic. Now, one claim is one post, and to build a thriving Substack publication, you need a few reliable places those claims can keep popping up on. Those are your content pillars. A pillar is essentially a recurring theme, and everything you write ladders back to that theme. You want to pick 1 to 3 pillars, and together those pillars tell a new reader exactly what your publication is all about. And here's the test for whether something is actually worth a pillar. Sit down and try to brainstorm 5 post ideas for the pillar you have in mind right now. If you can do that very easily, it's a pillar. If you are straining to get past 1 or 2 ideas, it's a passing interest and it goes. Once you are publishing consistently and interacting with your readers, your audience will start telling you which of your pillars they want more of. So pay attention to which articles get the most opens, which ones get the most comments, which notes spark real conversations, and what people keep asking you in DMs. Your analytics guide you, they don't define you, but when your readers are already telling you what they want more of, listening to them is the best way to serve them. And if you want a step-by-step walkthrough for defining your topic, your pillars, and your positioning from a blank page, we've put together a completely free resource that does exactly that. It's the Substack Starter Kit, and the link is in the description box below. Now that you've got your pillars, you need to know what kinds of posts actually grow a Substack publication. And there are 3 that are proven to work. And if you rotate between them, you will never run out of things to say. The first one is the problem-solving post, a specific how-to, a common mistake, a checklist, a framework. These are the posts that your readers bookmark, save, and forward to a friend. So if your niche is fitness, a problem-solving post could look like 5 stretches that are actually making your back pain worse. The second is the point of view post. This is a strong take on your niche, something you believe that goes against common advice, or something you think most people get wrong, or something you figured out that others haven't. This is how you stop sounding like everyone else and start becoming someone your reader actually trusts. If your niche is career advice, for example, a point of view post could be something like, networking your way into your next job is completely overrated. Here's what actually works. The third one is the proof post. This is a case study, a before and after, a lesson from your own experience or from working with a client. This is what turns curiosity into belief. In parenting, a proof post could look something like, how one small change to our morning routine cut our school morning arguments in half. Each of these posts has the same job. It's a bridge for your reader from where they are today to where they actually want to be. So their point A is confused, overwhelmed, and stuck. But point B is clear and more capable. So let's say you write for busy parents about staying in shape. Their point A is exhausted, out of routine. They've tried a bunch of plans and they never really fit into their real life. Their point B is they know exactly what to do in 20 minutes a day. They feel stronger and they can actually stay consistent. If a post doesn't move your reader from A to B in some way, It's not really doing its job. Now there's one more piece to this, because two people can write about the exact same topic and get completely different results. And that difference is positioning. When someone lands on your publication, they decide in a matter of seconds whether it's for them or not. So they need to see right away who you help, how you help them, and why you are different from everyone else in your space. Think of it like a fruit stand. If you are an apple sitting next to 100 other apples, people can't really tell you apart, so they don't choose you in particular. So you want to be the orange, or better yet, the grapefruit. You don't want to be weird for the sake of being different, but clearly, specifically different, so that the right readers look at you and think, this one is for me. Your claims are how you sound like the orange instead of the apple. Your pillars are how you stay one. And your positioning is essentially the promise a stranger sees before they even read your posts. Growth on Substack rarely comes from variety. It comes from clarity, repetition, and relevance. So pick the small handful of things you want to be known for and write consistently about them so that a stranger could describe your publication in a single sentence. So here's what I want you to leave with. Stop trying to invent a topic in your head. Find the overlap between who you serve, the problem you solve, and the unique angle you bring to the table. Pressure test 3 topic statements against clarity, usefulness, and sustainability, and turn your topic into claims that your reader can actually feel. Cluster those claims into 1 to 3 pillars and rotate between problem-solving, point of view, and proof posts. And let your positioning be the reason the right reader picks you and actually stays with you. And if you want us to help you turn your expertise into a best-selling Substack publication that actually grows your audience and income, apply to work with us at substackcoaching.com. Now, picking what to write about is really just one part of the puzzle. You can pick the perfect topic, come up with the perfect pillars, and still end up completely stuck in your first 6 months. And it's not because your writing isn't good enough. It's because you made the wrong decisions about how you are setting up your Substack in the first place. So I've put together a video breaking down the 6 decisions I would make from day 1 if I were starting a Substack from scratch. I'll see you there.